Hi, everybody. Here's some quick notes for this week's elementary lesson. So before we get into the lesson, I wanted to talk real briefly that our core value for this month is we will bring the fun. So that's always a great core value for us to always keep at the forefront of our minds, because when kids are having fun, that means they're engaged and they're learning, which is so important to us. So one of the things I wanted to point out that I'd like you guys to really work on this week is being present in the fun. So when the kids are playing games, be there, not just physically present, but be in the game mentally. If you're doing a small group activity that is fun and the kids are smiling and laughing, you need to be smiling and laughing and being present in the fun. So just remember that as you go through today's lesson or this week's or this Sunday's lesson. Also, you're going to find there's a little bit of a change in this week's lesson when the children come into class. So normally when the kids come in, we have the 3 tables that they go to do one of their arrival activities. Well, one thing we want to try a little bit differently the next couple of weeks is having one table, and that table is going to act almost as like a feeder table. So all the kids that come in will go to that one table, do the activity on that table, and then whoever is responsible for that table will then direct the children to one of the other adult leaders in the class. And that adult leader actually will have things to do with them prior to service. So it's like having 2 small groups in service versus 1. So you'll see that in this week's lesson plan. I'm going to pull up the lesson plan. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can pull it up. So this is this week's lesson plan. So let's skip down to the beginning, the pre-service arrival activities. So you'll see we're going to have a prayer wall where I'm going to remove that first table, have butcher paper on the wall, and everyone will have sticky notes and they can draw or write prayer requests and stick them to the butcher paper. And that really is a good thing for us to do because it gives us an idea of what we can pray for our kids about. So one of you will be stationed there, and then when the children finish that, your job is going to be to direct them to one of the other adults in the room. So first service will have 3 adults, which I'm really excited about. Thank you, Jessa, for coming on board to help us in elementary. And in second service, it's going to be myself and Kristen and Ayana. So when the children are directed to that next adult, basically you're going to have a beginning small group and read through the exercises of what you need to do. So one of the things we're going to do first is we're going to collect some offering during that beginning small group. So see if anybody has offering, and you might want to talk about why it's important that we give. That can be a conversation topic. You could take a few minutes to see how the kids' week has gone, if anything's going on with them. Just take this opportunity to connect with the kids. So then we'll have an activity for you to do that talks about a situation where they might need help to be safe. And so read through that. I gave you some ideas of things that you could talk about. And then the last thing you would be doing with them is a fire safety review. And there actually is a fire route that is by the door that's posted. So I'm going to make a copy of that. You can go over that with the kids. And you can talk about in today's story, the people in today's story actually went through a real fire. And you can say, but don't worry, God delivered them from that. So they're learning about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And so it's a great opportunity for you even to share with the kids experiences that you may have gone through that seemed impossible without God's intervention. So you can use this time to also, again, share some personal stories, which the kids really love. So look through that. There's a third arrival activity. You may or may not get to it. And that brings up another point. When we're doing these lessons, the lessons are meant to be a guide, not your master. The important thing is to connect with the kids, help them to understand the main point, and help them understand how they can apply that main point in their life. So that with this week's lesson, let me scroll to the top. So you'll see that the main point was God was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. And so you want them to know that no matter what they're going through, even if it's an impossible situation, that God is going to be with them. And also they're going to learn about obedience, because last time we were in class, they learned about how Daniel obeyed God by not eating the king's food. This week, we're learning about how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego obeyed God by not bowing down to King Nebuchadnezzar. And so we know that God, in those impossible situations, He's going to give us the strength to obey Him. That is what you want the kids to come away with. So the lessons are there to be a guide, but if you feel like you're having a great conversation in a small group and it's going one way, I would just continue with it, because you want the children to be able to make that connection with you and with the main point for the day. So I'm going to let you go through the lesson. We'll have the things we normally have. You can read through that. I'm trying to see if there's anything that's totally different that sticks out to me that I want to talk to you about. There will be, when it comes down to the Bible story time, there will be a short pre-recorded video, and it wasn't clear in the lesson plan, but basically I'm going to show them, we have an emoji pillow in the back that shows like someone kind of scared. And I want to show the video and basically say, it reminds me of how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego must have felt. And it's just a visual, and we're going to bring those emoji pillows back out during the large group game, which is going to be at the end. I wanted to fast forward to the salvation part of the lesson. So they have the Bible story. There'll be a video after the Bible story. Then you just have a short little blurb that you can say that reinforces the big picture question: how can we obey God? We can trust God to give us strength to obey Him. And so that can lead you into the salvation part, which talks about how Christ, He never sinned. He always obeyed God. And He did that because He knew ultimately that He was going to bring glory to the Father. And you can talk about how sin separates us from God, but God does not want to be separated from us. And that's why He brought Jesus Christ. And so one of the things that I would encourage you to do is practice this point. Practice this part. If you're not as comfortable with this section, as I know some people have expressed to me before that they just didn't know quite what to say. God is there. God is going to help you, and you have the Holy Spirit inside of you to help you. God knows we're not perfect. And, the thing is practice what you'd like to communicate to the kids. What I have written down, by no means do you have to follow that as a script. We just want them to know that they have an opportunity to respond to God's grace every week, and that's what we've been trying to do. So look at that salvation part, practice it, kind of have in your mind how you'd like to deliver it. And so allow kids the opportunity to come up for prayer if they'd like to make Jesus the leader of their life. And then also invite them to come up to the altar if they have any issues they want to discuss and have prayer about. So we've been having kids come up to pray about their pets. We had a little girl week before last that came up to pray for her friend's father who's been very sick. So we get all sorts of prayer requests from the kids. One thing I also do is I invite other children to come and pray along with us for their friends. So during that altar time, just think about it, pray about it, and just go for it. The great thing is kids are super forgiving, and they just love an opportunity to pray. So I'd encourage you to look at this as an awesome opportunity for you to get closer to God through prayer, and for us to teach our children how available God is to them in prayer. So look over that salvation part. There'll be 3 songs. We always have 3 songs. If there's nobody up there, play the first song through, and then move on to get ready for your second small group So you can look through the small group time. This would be the small group time we always have. Look through that. Let me know if you have any questions. That's going to be about 25 minutes. Then there's a really fun transition song I found. And I would encourage you, remember, we're bringing the fun. So during this transition song, as the kids are coming back to where they're seated, you participate in the song as well. Enjoy it with them. And then there's going to be a large group game. So if you have any questions at all, email me. Don't hesitate to call either if you need to call me. Don't forget, we have Kidmin check-in that's going to be at 9. Wait, my times are wrong. That's going to be at 8:20, and we'll have an opportunity to look over this also if you have any questions. We will not be having breakfast this month. We're going to transition out of breakfast time. Just as we've noticed, now that we have a start time that's beginning earlier, we're not getting the same type of participation for breakfast, but we're still having our Kidmin check-in. One last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was how one of the things we're going to focus on in 2018 is having consistent leaders for our children. So it is so important for our kids to have consistent people in their lives, because over time they learn to trust those people, and they learn to open up to those people, and you get to know the kids as well. So one of the things we're asking is if you guys would be willing to serve more than once per month. Again, bringing those same people in front of our children. What an opportunity to actually be with a child from kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade, to be one of those consistent voices in their lives. It's a great opportunity that we've been given. So please, please, please talk to me, text me, email me if you would be willing to serve more than once a month. We already have several volunteers that are doing that on all the different levels. You could serve a full Sunday, that would be for first and second service, or you can serve more than once a month for one service, and that would still give you an opportunity to attend that second service. So again, let me know if that's something you want to do. It's important to know that connection takes time and it takes trust, and having a consistent adult in your life is so valuable for our kids. That's all I have for today. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you on Sunday. And thank you so much for the time, the effort, and the energy that you are spending and investing in our kids. All right, bye-bye.